Hey guys, it's Lydia from LA 3D Printing, and today I'm super excited because I get to test out ZYLTECH's TPU black filament. So let's get started. Alrighty guys, welcome back. First off, I want to start off saying thank you so much to ZYLTECH for sending me their awesome filaments. They actually sent me their black TPU and some white PLA, which I will review in the future. But right now we're going to be reviewing some black TPU, and I'm super excited because I've actually never reviewed TPU before, and I was thinking because of my last print in flexible filament, which was my 3D printed mold, was printed in MakeShaper's semi-flex filament, and then I thought I need some TPU filament and I would love to test out ZYLTECH's brand new TPU, so I contacted them and they were so up for it. So thank you again, ZYLTECH, for sending me your cool filament, and I cannot wait to review it. So let's start right off with the review. Alright, so just checking out the box. Pretty simple box. It is nice and clean, which I really like. No complicated parts or whatever. So on the front it says ZYLTECH with their cool little Z logo. The side it just says you need to keep it dry, don't get it wet, all that kind of stuff. And then the bottom here actually says all the filaments they carry, but then it has a sticker on here. It says TPU, and then the color sticker, which is really smart. It is 1 kilogram. It says the filament color is black, and it is 1.75 millimeter 3D printing filament. So it is 1 kilogram. And I'm super excited, as you can tell, to test this out. So let's open the box. So opening it up, it just has this paper that says the spool dimensions, all that kind of stuff, just like this. It's actually kind of hard to read, but just a little paper. Tells you the print temperatures for all their filaments, and then actually, because it is a brand new filament, it's only been out for about 2 months, it just has a sticker for the TPU. It says extrusion temperature 200 to 230 degrees Celsius, print speed 30 to 60 millimeters per second, bed temp 75 to 85, and then hardness is 95S Hor A. I'm not really sure what that means. And then application is soft objects, so flexible objects is that's what it means. And again, they just came out with this about 2 months ago, and I am really glad I get to test it out for them. So looking in the box, it has some bubble wrap on it. So it's like a little bag of bubble wrap. I'm just gonna put the box over here. So the bag of bubble wrap here, and then it also is a vacuum sealed bag. It is not a Ziploc bag, so I'm going to have to grab an X-Acto knife here and just cut it open. Just a simple clear bag, and you can keep these bags, but for me, as you guys can see up there, that's where I store my filament. But there's one thing about flexible filament you do need to keep in mind, is it absorbs moisture very much. So usually what I do, I'll just get that off. Usually what I do with my flexible filament is I'll stick it in the oven for about an hour or two at the lowest setting, which is about 170 degrees. I might even leave it in there longer if I'm not so rushed in the prints, because it absorbs lots of moisture. And I do recommend actually keeping this in a bag with some desk impacts or a vacuum sealed bag, which I have a vacuum sealer. I could do that, but I most likely will just leave it out, which probably isn't the smartest idea, but then I will dry it out. So just keep that in mind. If your prints come out like very badly and like bubbly kind of, that's what it's from. So I might stick this in the oven before I use it. Not sure. I'll do a test before I use it, and then I'll do a test after. I'll show you the difference of that. But going back to the spool, just a normal spool. It says ZYLTECH on it. Then it says 3D printing filament TPU, filament color black, diameter is 1.75 and 1 kilogram. So just a simple sticker on here. Again, all the information is on this paper for heating it up and stuff like that. So looking at the roll of it just wound up, it is very, very soft. As you can see, I'm pushing in here. I could probably reach to the middle. So I actually didn't expect this, because the only filament I actually used that was flexible was a really tiny roll from MakeShaper. So this is brand new to me. Never used TPU, but it is a very flexible filament. I'm gonna take it out here from the little part here, and if you can really put some strength into it and stretch it, but then it usually just goes back to its normal size. Again, it is 1.75 millimeter filament. I'm not really sure if they do carry 3 millimeter filament, but you can definitely check that out in the description below to the link of this filament. It is a nice, smooth feeling filament, nice matte, kind of shiny, like a mixture of that. And then with the spool, you can definitely squeeze it because of the flexible of the filament. So this spool actually looks like it is glued together, which most spools are glued together instead of just injection molded. But it looks like a sturdy and well-known spool in 3D printing filament. So let's hop right on the printers. I will actually be testing out lots of printers with this filament. I will be testing out on my Robo with the direct drive, and I just got my Robo back. It is working great. I have created some time-lapse camera holder, which I might use depending on if I have enough time for my camera to be used. But I will try it out on the Tevo Tornado, which I printed my flexible part on for the mold, and I actually just put 2 new, I don't know what they're called, the filament guiders for the Titan extruder on the Tevo Tornado and on the Tevo Michelangelo, so I will definitely try those out. So if you do not have a filament guide on your printer for a Tevo Titan, or for just a Titan extruder, definitely print one of those out. They're super easy, and let's really hope that they work. So what a filament guide does on a Titan extruder is, so the filament, there's a gear and the filament guides through here, but there is there's a little gap between the PTF tube, PTFE tube, and the actual gear. So the filament guide takes that gap away and makes it directly from the gear right to the PTFE tube. So that is also very useful and exactly why you should print one. If you do not have a Titan extruder, there are lots of other filament guides for different extruders, but as I can see kind of on my Robo 3D printer, is it already kind of has a filament guide, so I will test it out on that again. Not sure if it will work or not, and if I have trouble, I'll ask Robo, and then I'll let you guys know on the info I got and if it actually worked. So let's hop right on all the printers and start 3D printing in flexible TPU filament. Alright guys, welcome back. So a couple days later, I finally finished testing out lots of this TPU filament, and it has been working great, and I am still super excited that I finally have some to start printing some really cool flexible things in. One thing I did not print yet is a phone case, which I will be printing in a little bit, but I did print some extra little things here, and we'll go over those in just a second. But I didn't get to print a whole bunch just because I was having some first layer problems with my both printers. Some reason the beds aren't level and stuff like that, so I've been having problems with that. But the prints have been coming out perfect. The settings I have for my slicer on Idea Maker has been working great, and the filament guides that I have installed on both of my Tevo Titan extruders have let me print successfully with retraction in the settings now, because it will not fold like I demonstrated earlier. But all these prints turned out really nice and look super good, so we can check out those up close. I did not a whole bunch of prints, and hopefully I'm going to be trying to print the little grip parts for fingers on the bionic hands. I haven't found an STL for that to print them out yet, but I am still searching. I did print some new parts for making more plant molds, the 3D printed plant molds. And so yeah, so let's check out what each of the prints look like up close. Alright, so starting out with the first print we have here is just the little test print that you do for flexible filament. Now this is the octopus, and as you can see here, I did not have my retraction settings on because this was, again, my first print and I wasn't sure if that was going to work. So you can see it's very stringy and it was very hard to clean up. But the first print actually turned out nice. As you can see, all these lines are kind of visible, kind of not, but all the layers stuck together nice. It is very flexible, way more flexible than I actually expected. Now, as you can see, this tentacle over here did not stick to the bed, and again, that was still my bed issue, but it had nothing to do with this filament. The filament laid down very nicely. In these first couple prints, I only had 2 layers, and the nozzle was a little close to the bed. So I actually later in all the prints I added two more layers to the bottom, so there's a total of 4 and 3 bottom layers. But overall, this first print actually surprised me on how well the layers stuck together and how well it actually turned out. So the next two prints were just these actual retraction prints and different settings prints, and now these are the flexible filament test prints I do use. And as you can see, this one is torn up because this was also a strength test. I actually let my dog chew on this, and then later I scaled it up about 250% and made a toy for him, and that also showed the flexibility and the strength test for this filament. And this was after about 2 hours of chewing on, so it's definitely strong depending on how many layers and wall thickness you add to it. So this one was actually testing the retraction and also making sure that there was no like retraction where it would go over each line, so then there would be stringing. It would just retract inside the print, inside the lines, and this turned out really nice. So I did attempt this vase mode vase, and as you can see, it is super flexible. This filament, this TPU, is actually way more flexible than I expected. I expected it to be a little tougher, but it is very flexible, very nice. But as you can see, the extruder for some reason couldn't keep up, so this print did fail, which wasn't a big problem for me. But again, it does show how flexible this is just in vase mode. So as you can see here, I printed 2 more little flexible parts for some more pots that I'm making. This is a 50% scale, and this one's 80. And these actually turned out very nice. The layer lines turned out great. There was some stringing inside here, but it was super easy to clean up. The layers went down great. Now this stuff is from the 3D goop stuff that I was using to actually get it to stick to the bed, which was very nice. And again, all these layer lines over here are barely visible, and the walls look fantastic. For some reason, this one, the walls were a little thin, so as you can see, they kind of bulged in and out, so they're not completely straight. But that was not a huge problem because when I make the molds, it won't matter in the end. As you can see, this is not the prettiest print, but it is going to work for what it is used for. Now this is a 3D stencil. Some people use just normal PLA to make this, but this is going to be a lot easier to bend around things and stuff like that. Now this is one of them that had the major bed problem on the Tevo Michelangelo. I'm not sure why that stopped being level, but eventually did print out nice, and this has about 4 layer thicknesses, so it turned out really nice for what it is, and I think it is going to work great for what I printed it for. So the only actual big print was this big Maui. Now I really wasn't sure what to print after this vase failed, besides the phone case, which I'm going to print, but this is, I believe, 200% scale from what it normally is, and as you can see, this thing is very flexible, which is very surprising. It could also be a toy or something, but I think it's super cool how flexible this stuff is, because after you take it off the build plate, it looks like just a solid piece of plastic till you squeeze it. But I think this looks really fantastic for how the print came out. It is very shiny, and all the lines did great. Now this had no support on it, so the overhang here did way better than I actually expected it to. And the first layer, again, I still had only 2, so then later I added more, but it did pretty good for what I gave it. Now the last print I did was attempting to print this pop socket, but it did not work because, as you can see, the design wasn't designed very nice, so it doesn't really fold down. But just wanted to show you a concept that I tried to make something very useful, but it did not work. But at least I tried. Alright guys, so that is it for all my prints. Again, I printed this on the Tevo Tornado and also on the Tevo Tarantula. I did not get to trying it on the Robo, but I might do that later, and I will definitely update you guys on that in the future. But that information will be listed on my Instagram, so don't forget to follow me on my Instagram. It will be linked up below in the description. But again, I'm super excited. I finally have some TPU to test, and different than just having green semi-flex that I have from MakeShaper. But I know I didn't print a whole bunch with this filament, but I'm definitely going to try more experimenting. And again, I'm going to be trying printing a new case for my new phone that I just got, the 7. And yeah, so thank you again to ZYLTECH for sending me this awesome TPU filament, and I will be doing another review on their white filament, their white PLA filament, and again, I'm super excited for that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya. Bye.